Hey, welcome to the Couple Money Marriage and Money Workshop. This is part of the Frugal Foodie series. I'm going to be interviewing Justin McCurry from Root of Good. I'm a huge fan of his site, and he's a local guy. But today, instead of talking about retiring early, we're going to be talking about living well on less, specifically making better food at home that you would probably pay a ton of money at a restaurant, but you can easily make for pennies on the dollar at home. So I am trying to get this set up. So sent him an invite. He should be here any minute. But just want to let you know this is live. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I have that opened up and I will try to help. And I am going to see if I can, I think that's him. I'm just seeing how I can promote him. Justin, did you get a link? I sent another one. Hopefully that will let you in. It was through this YouTube on air hangout. But just to get started as we get this technical stuff set up, eating well and spending less don't have to be mutually exclusive. I know, honestly, when we were first married, the joke was with my friends, they called me the microwave queen. And that's because I felt like I didn't have time to cook. I didn't really want to cook. And I just thought it would be too expensive to make the dishes I loved when I ate out and grabbed some stuff. And it wasn't like I was going to these very fancy restaurants. I love trying different cuisines, different tastes. And I felt that if I wanted Indian dishes, it's best to, go to the restaurant. They know how to cook everything there. They're professionals. Korean food, Thai food. But just like growing up, I had a lot of Puerto Rican dishes, mofongo, arroz con gandules. You're like, well, that's not really fancy foods. That's really easy to make. And that's because that's what I grew up with and I saw my grandma make them. But the same thing with any other type of cuisine is, yes, at first it might take a little getting used to how to prepare the dishes. But once you have certain spices, once you have a couple different techniques, and it's not a lot, you can really expand the dishes that you have at home and can save you a lot of money because you're having these awesome meals at home without spending a lot of time and without emptying your wallet. So if you give me a second, I am going to see if I can invite him again. And wondering if he can see me. I'm typing in Google Chat. So if you're watching this live, you're seeing this as I'm making sure this is set up. Sorry, I have a cold. My apologies on that. I am trying to keep my sniffling and my coughs down to a minimum. But we'll see how it goes. How are you guys doing? Hope everything is going great. I hope you guys are just having a good time for the weekend. I have to be honest, I started Frugal Foodie and I had a lot of posts kind of halfway written. That way I can polish it off as I go through it. And life happened. So in a way, this is like the best and worst time to do it. The whole concept of Frugal Foodie is that you eat well without having to become a chef or spend a ton of money. And my family is down with the bug, and it's been going like back and forth between the kids. My husband's got it for the last 5 weeks. So every buffer I've had with posts, podcasts, or everything is like gone. I am doing everything in real time. Actually, the last post I did for Frugal Foodie was that night. I think it was 20 minutes after I finished dinner, I wrote it up and sent it. So if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to Frugal Foodie. If you go to couplemoney.com and subscribe and just sign up, you can do that as well. It's a lot of fun. I am sharing just different ways to, one, get better ingredients cheaper. So last week I had Christia from Family Balance Sheet, and this kind of ties in with what we're discussing today. Your ingredients are key. If you have cheap stuff, cheap in quality, your dishes aren't going to be fantastic. But if you have fresh stuff, I notice you don't need as much of it because the flavors come out. And I'm going to put in the group chat an article from Tim Ferriss. He actually has a book called The 4-Hour Chef, which is more than a cookbook, but in it, there's a section that talks about flavors from around the world. There are certain cuisines and tastes that we associate based on spices, herbs that we had. So, here's Justin right here. Hey, I'm still getting used to YouTube on air.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I've been watching you for the past 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get on. So I had the wrong link originally, but I'm here now. So
I'm sorry, and I sent you that because that's what it gave me. But okay, so thank you for joining me. And I think we can kind of start off with what I was talking about, like ingredients are the key for any dish, and introduce you guys as Rooted Good. And I love talking about financial independence with you, but this is slightly different. But it can lead you to it because food is such a huge cost for families, especially if you have kids.
Yep. Yeah. So I brought some demonstration items here.
Nice.
Just to hold up in front of the camera, hopefully, just to maybe not really provide a whole recipe, but at least show some ingredients that we use in our own cooking to give some ideas for people if they want to, look for the same kind of stuff in the grocery store.
Great. Well, why don't we talk about like things you should have in the pantry that are absolutely crucial. And I was just mentioning Tim Ferriss in his book was talking about all these different flavors from around the world. And while there are different combinations, I noticed certain ones kept coming up. Garlic, onion, you have your herbs, rosemary, and depending on the region, you got cumin. Everyone has a different flavor. Now, what's your specialty with cuisine, and what kind of flavors and herbs do you use for your cooking?
I use a lot. I do a lot of, I guess, Asian cooking and Mexican cooking. So, the Mexican cooking is, onion, garlic, cumin, chili powder. Those are and salt. I mean, those are kind of you can make a lot of different stuff with that, and then expand out from there. Lime and cilantro are pretty key. So we have lime and cilantro on hand almost all the time, and that's actually a common ingredient in a lot of the Asian cuisine that we'll make as well. So it's something, we'll buy a bag of limes from Aldi for 99 cents, and it lasts in the fridge for a month probably. So we have fresh lime juice whenever we want it to put on meat and rice, tacos, some kind of, we have a stir fry or pad thai sort of dish, pho, whatever we're making, we have some fresh ingredients on hand, and it's not expensive. It's $1 for 7 or 8 limes. That varies. If you don't have an Aldi nearby, consider going to an ethnic grocery store, Mexican store, Asian store. A lot of times you can get things like limes and fresh vegetables, cilantro, for half the price of what you would pay at a regular grocery store.
Yeah, and I think you bring a good point. Is where you shop can make a big difference. And when I talk about cheap, getting things on the cheap, I don't mean quality, I mean prices. And you and I have an Aldi's right by us that is, I'm finding it to be quite helpful with a lot of shopping, so much so that my 5-year-old's like, are we going to Aldi's? You always go there. But that's one of my go-tos for the first round. And then, you can fill in the gaps and if you have the time at different stores.
Yep. Yeah, and it's and where we live here in Raleigh, there's a number of Asian and Latino markets right around the corner. So it's it depends on where you live. If you're in a medium to large city, usually there's some kind of an ethnic market nearby somewhere. So check those out. Don't be intimidated to go in and explore. I know when you walk in, it's kind of a wall of scents and odors and sensory input, and there's all kinds of ingredients, and they have 10 different kinds of every little sauce and spice and herb. But maybe going in there with a plan of like, I want to get X, Y, and Z ingredient to make this one dish. Um, try getting that, get used to it. And a lot of the stuff is available at the regular grocery store. I looked at Walmart yesterday just to see what they had in their ethnic section, which is about, it's probably less than an aisle total for the Asian and the Latino section. Yeah. But they had a lot to offer, really, and the prices were not bad compared to what we pay usually. A little bit more, but not horrible. Selection was pretty good. And maybe the area we live in might have more ethnic stuff at Walmart than regular, but so it's not like you have to have an ethnic market. But I think it's good to try different things. If you mess up, the ingredients aren't horribly expensive usually. So that's something that and stuff that we have on hand all the time. A meat and a vegetable can go a long way.
Yeah.
Sometimes for Asian dishes, noodles are very helpful. For Latino Mexican food. I mean, when I say Latino, I know it varies. There's 20 or 30 different countries in Latin America. I'm really thinking of Mexican food here. I have no specialty in other kind, in Puerto Rican food or Cuban food or Honduran or anything else. I can't make arepas. I can't make pupusas, but I mean, I can make the ingredients to go into a taco or a mole poblano kind of sauce. That's what I'm more used to. But it really just depends on the food that you have, the food that you try when you're traveling or at a restaurant. What do you want to try to make? What ingredients do you keep on hand? And so we usually have some kind of meat and vegetable on hand all the time, just because in sauces, different kinds of herbs and sauces, so that there's never an excuse for us to not cook, and there's never an excuse for it to have something boring and bland. I mean, we don't have to. We don't have to eat boring and bland food if we don't want to. We have access to these ingredients right in our own pantry and our own refrigerator.
Yeah. So do you mind pulling out what you have?
Sure. I guess I have mostly Asian ingredients just because I grabbed that randomly, but I'll start out with the one Mexican Latino ingredient. If we can see this.
Yes, chipotle.
Okay. Oh, chipotle. Yeah. These are chipotle peppers, whole peppers. It's pretty spicy. We use these sometimes. Mix it into sauces. You can mix it in with some tomato or whole tomatoes, tomato paste, tomato sauce, and it makes pretty good sauce right out of the gate. You can also add it to salsas, just regular salsa from the jar. It adds a kick to it, adds a smoky spiciness to it, and this also it's good like a marinade or a rub on meat. Let it sit overnight. And that's just one of the things to kind of give it a little different flavor than what you're used to from if you're used to the old El Paso taco seasoning packets. This will add a whole new dimension to the flavor profile of the food. It is kind of spicy, so you can use the sauce on. I know a lot of recipes will call for using the sauce only from the chipotle peppers. We've also used this in a clone recipe from, I think it's Cheesecake Factory. It's the chipotle chicken dish they have there, and it uses the chipotle salsa, the sauce from I think it's called the adobo sauce from the chipotles, and you put that into the sauce for the pasta, and it adds that smoky, slightly spicy flavor profile to the pasta dish with chicken. So it's really good, and it's one of those dishes, $15, $16 at Cheesecake Factory, and I think theirs is really, really oily. You ever take leftovers home from there? It's like it's just covered in oil and butter, and so you can make it at home without all of that, and it ends up being. We've got pretty close to the recipe, and without a lot of the oil in it, so it's kind of good flavor, but without the unhealthy stuff that restaurants often put in there. Yeah, and so the other things, I have a ton of Asian ingredients here. First, I can just show two noodles. This is somen noodles. You can see it, yep. And I think it's actually made in China, but it's like a Japanese somen noodle. My wife is from Thailand and Cambodia, so they actually use this in a lot of their noodle dishes, and they'll cook it and then cool it off in an ice water bath, and then serve it with. You can really just serve it with soy sauce, and this noodle dish would accompany some kind of other vegetable and meat possibly, but somen is a common Japanese noodle dish as well. You can put it in soups. And this is $1.29 for 1 pound, almost 1 pound. So it's really not a whole lot more expensive than spaghetti noodles. Yeah, and it's in little individual bundles. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see, but
I see the little ripples in there.
yeah, there's 5 little bundles of noodles, so you can really pop out like a 3-ounce serving, and that's about like, the size of a ramen noodle pack. It's about 3 ounces, so it's really a 1-ounce serving, or sorry, 3-ounce serving. So you can do just one little bundle of noodles. Very inexpensive. We're talking less than 30 cents per serving here. The other noodle here is the it's called the rice stick noodle. We usually get the Elephant brand. This one, for reference, is, well, it says 59 cents. It's usually $1.59. Maybe this one. Yeah, so it's a 1 pound of noodles, usually $1.59 at our Asian grocery store. And so we're talking a little bit more expensive than spaghetti noodles, but not a whole lot. This is used for pho, and I also use it for pad thai. So it's one of those ingredients that we always have on hand. The shelf life is probably, okay, so this is good till October 2018. So this is good for basically 18 more months from now. So we can buy it, stick it in the pantry. It's not going to expire. It's not going to go bad for a long time. It's a good ingredient, very easy to cook with. We use it for pad thai. We use it for pho. You could use it for other dishes, really, if you wanted to. You could probably just put spaghetti sauce on it and eat it that way if you really wanted to. But it's made out of rice flour. You soak it in water for about an hour, and then you can pan fry it for pad thai. You can dip it with a strainer, dip it in water, cook it for like 15 seconds, and it's ready for pho.
Nice.
So
Hold on, got a guest coming in. Fridays I usually don't work. I catch up on stuff. It's kind of my learning day. So yes, continue.
a little visitor, yeah. My little visitor is outside somewhere, so I'm gonna hopefully. Hi. So that's those are the noodles that we use, and then there's for pho, it's kind of a complicated recipe, so I would suggest looking online. These are just 2 of the seasoning packets that we purchase. I'm not sure how much they are, probably like 59 cents for maybe 6 little cubes inside of here, and they're basically bouillon cubes. If you ever buy those for other regular soups, this little seasoning blocks or cubes. It's a lot of salt content, so that's gonna you're really not gonna have to add any salt to it, probably. Salt, sugar, spices, star anise, onion, garlic, cinnamon, clover, ginger, and black pepper. So it's kind of it's going to get you the full flavor profile in there. And then you have to add we add other stuff to it adds some spice to it. And but pho, just in general, it's really just a chunk of meat. If you have a bone, even better. Meat and bone, throw it in the pot. We put these little dried mushrooms in there from the Asian store, and some different, lemongrass if you have it, if you can find it, or kaffir lime leaves. Those are pretty similar flavor profiles, but you can put that in there. Season it to taste. And I would suggest following the online recipe, but that's one of those things. It's really just a soup, and you serve it over noodles, and then you can put lime juice in there. Serve it with cilantro, bean sprouts on top for something a little crunchy in there. So it's kind of a versatile dish that can be whatever you want to make it. Relatively easy. It's kind of you go to a pho restaurant and it's $7, $8, $9 for a bowl of pho, and it's really just soup over noodles that probably cost 50 cents or $1 to make at home.
Yeah, and when you have a family, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and it takes a little bit of time to prepare, but it's the kind of thing where if you make a big pot of the pho broth, you can easily have it the next day as well over a second batch of noodles that you cook fresh. And so the second day, it doesn't really take much time at all. It's the kind of thing you can easily heat up after work to make. Once you perfect the recipe and you get it down. And yeah, and it's versus going to the restaurant, instead of us paying $40 or $45 to go to a pho restaurant, we're having what everybody that has it, they say, oh, this is much better than the restaurant. We like your pho better. So that's my wife's cooking, not really mine, but I've watched her enough, so I see how it's prepared. And
you feel like you cook it.
Yeah, I mean, I could make it probably. It probably would not be as good as the restaurant if I tried it my first time, but it's one of those things that you can work on and perfect and get it to your taste how you want it. You can make it more lean by, using really lean meat and not using, ours ends up, we use a lot of, like a pork shoulder. We'll take the bone out of that with some meat left on it,
Oh,
stick
yes.
it in the freezer, and then when it's pho time, it's scrap meat basically. Put it in the pot, and then we've got some good meat that will fall off the bone. We've got the bone in there to add to the broth. So it's something that a lot of people would just toss out, and we end up recycling it. So we're basically getting a second use out of this shoulder bone from a big cut of like a pork shoulder, a Boston butt type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other dish, if you ever gone to a Thai restaurant, they have coconut curry dishes.
Yes.
So this is basically these two ingredients right here. This is red curry. Let's see if I can hold it properly. It's Masri, Maesri. You could probably buy this on Amazon. It's $1.29 for a 4-ounce container, 114 grams, 4 ounces. $1.29 at our local Asian store. They have some cheaper red curries that are like $1 or so for a can. And if you love it, you can always get a big tub of it for like $8 or $9 for 2 or 3 pounds of it. So it's a little bit cheaper per ounce that way, but that's a lot of curry. So I would suggest, this is probably good for, a small pot full, probably 2, 3, 4 servings maybe. So this would be good for like a family meal. And so basically you add this and this coconut milk. This coconut milk is 99 cents at our local Asian grocery store. I checked a slightly higher fat content, which is good for this dish. You want it creamy. At the restaurant, they use high fat content coconut milk usually. Anyway, it's $1.49 at Walmart, 99 cents here at the Asian store. We get this one's a little bit less fat content, and that's why it's cheaper. You're really paying for that coconut oil, the coconut fat that gives it that rich creaminess. But the red curry and the coconut, and then usually it's potatoes and chicken, potatoes and shrimp, maybe some there. That's kind of the common combos at a Thai restaurant. You'll pay $9 or more there probably. This is $2.29 for the sauce, the curry, and then whatever you're going to spend on a half a pound or a pound of chicken and some potatoes or onions or carrots. And you can make. I mean, you don't have to have potatoes. You can use any kind of vegetable. Cabbage. I mean, you could. It's kind of whatever we have on hand is what we put into it. So. But that's one of those dishes that takes not much time at all. This is really like this is the hamburger helper level of difficulty. You open 2 cans, put it into a pot, maybe add a little bit of water. You might want to add more or less curry depending on how spicy you like it. This is a fairly spicy curry paste. So I'm not sure if you don't like spicy food or if you can't handle spicy food, what you would do, other than just add less of it to the curry, or add more liquid to kind of water it down. Whether it's water, you could use water. It's just going to be less creamy, but that's one of those dishes that's real easy to make, and you can use you go cheap, use chicken, make it vegetable only. If you want to go crazy, add shrimp to it. It's still if you add a pound of shrimp, we're talking $5 to $10 for the shrimp, but you're making a meal for 3 or 4 people probably. So,
yeah.
Compared to the restaurant, we're still talking, $10 for a big pot of curry that you would probably pay $30 or $40 for 3 or 4 meals at an Asian restaurant. Yeah.
But you bring up some good points there. I mean, I love how you were saying you look online for the recipes and ingredients. I think a lot of people, they're like, oh no, I got to get a bunch of cookbooks, or I got to get this. And now there's so much information free. Now, are you the type of person that likes to read out the recipe, or are you kind of like YouTube and you grab something and watch how they make it and pull it out?
Some of both. Usually if I'm just trying to get like what flavor am I missing, or what flavors do I need, or what ingredients do I need to go shopping for, I'll look at those written recipes. But if I'm looking for techniques of like, how do they get this thing just right? Like how are they getting those noodles like that? How are they getting that meat with that kind of texture on it? Or that's the sort of thing where I'll watch a full video that they explain, dip it in the water for 15 seconds and then pull it out quick, put it in an ice bath, shake it around. Because some of those things are really what makes a difference between kind of a mediocre meal and that restaurant quality meal that you're used to. And it's, it's cooked at a restaurant by another human, so they have done it a million times, and that's why it's consistent and why it tastes good. So you may have to try it once, see what you like, and then perfect your methodology the second and the third time.
Yeah, and copycat recipes are a good starting point if you're unsure, and you're a person, quite frankly, goes out to eat a lot. Well,
Yeah.
why don't you start with some of your favorite dishes at your places that you go to and see if you can at least replace 1 or 2 meals a month with that. And you'll be surprised once you start getting familiar with recipes. I'm sure you do this too. You tweak it the way you like it, because it might be good at a restaurant, but you know what? I would love it to have more vegetables or more meat, maybe less rice, or, you adjust it for your taste or your family's taste. Like how hot. My husband loves it spicy. So, he'll crank it up, and he's now like growing hot peppers just so he can put more into the pot.
There you go. Yeah, and we've done that certainly with if we'll go to a chain restaurant of some sort and then try a dish, and we're like, wow, this is really good. How can we make this at home? Because it's a lot of times it's a simple ingredients. It's just a matter of getting those ingredients and the spices and the flavor and the textures down. And a lot of times it's not that hard. So yeah, we'll definitely Google those recipes or those dishes that we like, and then we'll see, this is the like that Cheesecake Factory chicken chipotle dish. Pretty easy to replicate that at home. And there's even ways to simplify it, so it's just incredibly easy. So we've actually adopted, we'll make an Alfredo sauce, but put these chipotle peppers in it, just to add that little smoky kick to it.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, and it's, you don't have to make it like the recipe every single time. It's just making it so that instead of a mild creamy sauce, it's kind of a powerful creamy sauce with a kick to it. And so we really enjoy trying those different things, and it doesn't always turn out successfully. Usually it turns out at least edible, something that's you can eat, and it's dinner. So
Yes, that's awesome. I love these ideas, because one thing that you do so well on your site, yes, you retired at 33, and that's amazing and fantastic, but you're showing how it's possible to live well on less. That's what led you to retire. It's these little components and pieces, and with food prices in some areas just seeming so expensive, it really does pay to just put in a small investment in cooking. Like you were mentioning, like pad thai and the curries, those are not hard dishes to make. And once you know how to make a curry, you can change that and mix it up. You can do like a Jamaican style curry, maybe different seasoning. Maybe you can work with the Indian dish style. You can rotate, and those skills translate, and then boom, your meals have like been upgraded in all ways.
yeah, that's absolutely right. And I brought a different kind of curry here. I haven't tried this one yet, so I can't really endorse it. But it's some kind of yellow curry.
Oh, nice.
It's called curry paste. So we're gonna try that at some point. I mean, it's like you're saying, it's exactly the same recipe. You just change out the kind of curry. See what it tastes like. Do you like it? Maybe we won't like it as well, so we won't buy it anymore. But it's that sort of thing where at the Asian grocery store, there's 20 different kinds of curry, and different brands and everything. And so maybe we haven't found the one that we like the most yet. So that's something that I like curry in general. I haven't had a curry that I'm really like, oh, this is really gross. Sometimes it's better or worse, or my favorite, or it's just okay. But trying different curries, and if you go to a restaurant or you have catered food somewhere, or you're at a wedding, and you're like, oh, I really like this kind of curry, or I like this kind of dish. How can I make this at home? That's one of the things, we don't eat out a whole lot, but if we're on vacation and we're eating out, or we have meet up with friends or something, or we'll go have catering somewhere, I'm always paying attention to, wow, how do they cook this dish? I wonder what's in here. And if you can get access to the chef, or look at the menu, look at the menu closely, or go online and Google, how do you make this dish? What's in it? Because a lot of times it's just relatively simple ingredients, or a sauce or a curry you can buy already mixed up for you. So
Yeah, these are all great tips. I appreciate it, Justin. I think I'm going to try that bone broth dish that you were talking about, because I do a roast pork shoulder sometimes when we have people over, and I'll just do a big one and has the bone in it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's good, not wasting, and have another meal based off of that.
Yeah, yeah. We usually do the bone raw. I mean, we'll trim down the meat off of it and then cook the meat and then keep the bone in the freezer. But that's just to have extra meat on the bone. But yeah, you could easily reuse that bone. You know, after you cooked it, pull it out. It's gonna be mostly clean, but pull it out, put it in the freezer, and then pop it into some make stock out of it basically.
Yeah.
Cook the soup and then pull the bone out and toss it. You know, and you'll get a second use out of it. It won't be as strong and flavorful, but you know, it'll add a little bit to the stock. So.
Yeah, it's good to have stock for those days where you're just like busy or the kids are sick. You can pull out some soup and it's homemade and doesn't have like a ton of sodium and the other stuff that you get with the store-bought soups and stews out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know it's Friday, and you're probably going to go out. Are you going to go hiking today?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't figured out what we're doing yet. So we're gonna have to go out and brainstorm and figure out breakfast or lunch or whatever we're gonna have next, and then figure out what we're doing today. So yeah.
Great. So if anyone's watching right now and you want to catch Justin and see what he's up to, what's the best place they can reach you, Justin?
Well, on the blog, rootofgood.com, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter at rootofgoodblog. So, but yeah, check me out on the blog there, and Facebook and Twitter if you're on there too.
Great. Well, that sounds fantastic. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll probably see you next week.
All right.
Our unofficial meetup with the kids in the
Sure.
library.
I hope so.
Thanks.
All right.
Take it easy.
You too. Bye.
Bye.